Hi everyone, it's Professor Kidwai. This is going to be our last scene analysis for Lust Caution, okay? This scene is a scene that comes at the very end of the film. Everything has been revealed now, right? Everything is known by all parties, the audience, but also parties that are duped, that are fooled in the film, like Mr. Yi, who is on screen right now before us, okay? In this scene, Mr. Yi is going to be given the details of the resistance group, that the espionage plan that was trying to assassinate him. He'll also be given details on Wang Chaqi's role in that resistance group, her role as a spy, as a honeypot, if you're familiar with that kind of sexual espionage. Her role in this attempted assassination. Of course, we already know because we've seen this film, we've seen the film before, we've seen the scene before. We already know that at the very last minute, Wang Chaqi chooses Mr. Yi over the goals of the espionage plot, right? So Wang Chaqi, remember, is pulled between two different directions, right? One direction is the conviction of her morals against this Chinese collaborationist, against the Chinese collaborationist army, for example, against the indignity of Japanese imperial occupation, against the violence and abuses of Mr. Yi, right? That's one side pulling her. The other side pulling Wang Chaqi is the loneliness she experiences and the brief intimacy, the brief break she finds from that loneliness with this other incredibly lonely man. In other words, the other side pulling her is this genuine love that Wang Chaqi and Mr. Yi do in fact feel for each other, okay? But the focus of this scene is going to be on Mr. Yi and how Mr. Yi navigates his heartbreak, navigates his rage at being betrayed, and how he navigates ultimately the guilt of acting on that rage. Because of course, to prove his mettle, right, to prove his conviction and his strength and maybe let's say his masculinity, his inability to be betrayed, in other words, he will literally sign the death warrant of Wang Chaqi. He will literally sign the death warrant of his lover, of his only true love, right? Like the threaded needle, the woman who is so close to her man. He'll sign that death warrant, but he'll do it with so much guilt, okay? This is another one of those scenes where we'll watch a big chunk of it and I'll talk more about it towards the end. So let's get started. Oops, sorry. He's lonely, he's alone here in the beginning. Okay, now in this next shot of the scene, the filmmaker uses what is sometimes known as a long shot or a wide shot or an establishing shot. It's a shot that lets us see the entire set, the entire room, right? The significance of that, of course, are the two flags on the wall, which reminds us of the position ultimately of Mr. Yi in this time and place, right? These two flags, this is of course the flag of Japan, or a flag of Japan, right? The old imperial flag that was once again adopted, right? On this side here, where I'm circling the mouse, we see the flag. I don't know if we would be familiar with this flag, but on this side here, we see the flag for the Chinese collaborationist government or the Chinese collaborationist army. In other words, the collaborators who helped Japan conquer and maintain the occupation of China, okay? So we're reminded here of his, I don't know, treacherous role, and it sets up the scene in helping us understand why, of course, he has to sign the death warrant, and reminding us also that, you know, at least the flag on the right, the collaborationist army flag, will eventually fail. So when he's signing the death warrant of Wang Chaqi, it's understood that eventually his own death warrant will be signed in days to come or in months to come.
一会儿大学生，一共6个，以前在香港办过一个爱国话剧社。
Okay, so now this is I don't know how we want to describe this individual, his assistant, his secretary, the one who handles his affairs. And this man is going to reveal what has happened now that Wang Chechi and her group has been arrested and their plans have been revealed, okay? What we're watching for is Mr. Yi's reaction to all the information revealed. Of course, the rage, the anger he has, and eventually the guilt, okay? So let's watch.
是，那个女的叫王佳芝，在港大演话剧还上过报。领头的姓邝，我们跟踪她一段时间了，很可惜，差一点没逮到老吴，让她逃走了。枪手可能从平安戏院的后门脱身的，查的时候身上都有电影票，容易蒙混。他们几个学生。
The students were the only one captured. So our original group, the group we started off with in the beginning of the movie, is finally together for one last performance, we can think, at the end of the movie. Of course, unfortunately, that last performance will be their real-life deaths, right?
你很清楚吗？怎么事情没有告诉我？
Mr. He's so angry. Why wasn't I told? Why weren't you told you were in love with this woman, right? So let's see the secretary's response.
这个因为您跟王小姐的关系。
Okay, the lowered eyes of the secretary is the fear of confronting his boss, right? What is going to be the consequence of boldly saying that, hey, if you hadn't been dating this woman, maybe your eyes would have been wide open instead of closed, right? So Mr. Yi is going to try to prove himself now. The rage will overcome any feelings he has for Wang Chechi, and that's going to be the strength and the power, and strength and power are the wrong words, the resolve in signing the death warrant that's coming.
当然现在已经弄清楚了，我把他隔离在审讯室，您要亲自问话吧。
Okay, now there's this moment of shock of she's downstairs, she's waiting for him. He's going to sign her death warrant, but for a moment he's afraid. How could he possibly face her? How could he possibly face her knowing that he is going to be her executioner, right?
楼下，
老罗跟老樊看着他，其他几个都过刑了，很简单，供词都还对得上。
那我就没什么好问了。该晓得的都有了吧？
那怎么处理？
He's checking the watch. The time of the death warrant. Now he's going to sign the death warrant. This is the resolve that overcomes his real feelings. Okay, this is the resolve of masculinity. Maybe we could call it toxic masculinity, literally here, right?
南郊石矿场，封锁消息，10点钟以前处理完毕。
Okay, now the most beautiful and brilliant part of the scene is coming. The ring, okay? The ring is everything. If we were in class, whenever I teach this film in class, I'm someone who wears a lot of jewelry. I love jewelry, okay? I love all the rings that I have, right? Including especially my engagement ring, which I wear. Here we have this monstrously huge, this gorgeous, gorgeous diamond ring that's referred to as a quail's egg in the film, right? If I were to get that ring in real life, I would totally die, okay? It's such a beautiful ring. I would lose my mind for this ring. When Mr. Yi gives Wang Chechi the ring, it's everything. It's like more than a marriage contract. It's everything. It's like, this is security for the rest of your life. If you ever need money and you sell this ring, you will have millions of dollars. I mean, not really, but you will have so much money to take care of yourself for the rest of your life. That's what he's trying to express when he gives her this huge, huge diamond ring, okay? Now, in the arrest, the ring has been confiscated, and the secretary is going to return it to him. I want us to pay attention to the shape of the ring, the placement of the ring on the table. What is it reminiscent of as the filmmaker cuts between the ring and Mr. Yi's face?
Oh, 你的钻戒。
Look at that ring.
不是我的。
Look at the play and light, right? The ring, we can't even see it yet, but the ring is rocking back and forth on the table, and it's reflecting light because it's rocking back and forth. It's such a powerful symbol that it's affecting the lighting of the whole room, okay? Look at that ring, rocking back and forth. Look at him look at it closely. He's afraid. Look at the ring up close. What does it look like? What does it look like, you guys? Even with the way the ring is lit, doesn't it look like an eye? Look at the center of the ring, right here. Doesn't that look like the pupil of an eye? And this is the iris of an eye. This is the shape of an eye. This is the shape of maybe a beautiful woman's eye, right? It's the shape of Wang Chaqi's eye. It's the shape of the all-seeing eye. And what is it doing? It's watching Mr. Yi. It's indicting Mr. Yi. It's charging him for his own treachery, his own cowardice, that he's the one who signs the death warrant for his lover. He's the one that betrays her. Even if she betrayed him, she still saved his life. But he does not save her life, right? So the eye is watching him and he knows it. The eye sees all. Let's watch it a little bit more. Look at it rocking back and forth. Looking at him, looking at him. Okay, we'll end our scene analyses with this. Thank you so much, you guys.